John Daly and the news. Brought to you by Real Lemon Reconstituted Lemon Juice and Anacin for fast relief of pain of headache, neuritis, neuralgia. Now, John Daly.
And a broadside from Dulles, a grin from McCarthy, intra-party warfare, ? The big lie. Vajinski says that we're the Korean war criminals. A world traveler is back from Russia, and the cleanup of the Augean stable. The details in a moment after Frank Sims speaking for Bicidol Mint.
Friends, if you suffer acid indigestion from overeating or overindulgence, just look. This is a Bicidol Mint. Gives you really fast relief, long-lasting relief. Sweetens your breath and stomach, too. Why? Because Bicidol mints are medically proven. Real Bicidol medication, not just a candy mint. And so easy to take. Take Bicidol mints. Enjoy the food you eat. You'll feel like a million.
And the administration tonight wheeled up a big gun and answered the challenge of Senator Joseph McCarthy's declaration of war. The battle began last Monday night when Senator McCarthy departed from his reply to former President Truman and took the administration to task on foreign policy. Referring to missing American prisoners in Korea, McCarthy said, "What are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to send perfumed notes following the style of the Truman-Acheson regime?" McCarthy instead urged that we force our allies through economic pressures to blockade Red China. Tonight, Secretary of State Dulles counterattacked in forceful and biting words.
Since I had my last weekly news conference, there's been a widely publicized criticism of this administration's foreign policy. The burden of the criticism was that we spoke too kindly to our allies and sent them so-called perfumed notes instead of using threats and intimidation to compel them to do our bidding. I welcome constructive criticism, but the criticism that I refer to attacks the very heart of United States foreign policy. It is the clear and firm purpose of this administration to treat other free nations as sovereign equals, whether they be large or small, strong or weak. To maintain a cooperation of the free is a difficult and delicate process. Without mutual respect and friendship, it would be impossible. We do not propose to throw away those precious assets by blustering and domineering methods. We shall be firm and persistent in trying to secure agreement on what we believe to be right. We shall expect a fair sharing of efforts and burdens, but we shall try not to be arrogant or to demand of others what, if circumstances were reversed, we ourselves would reject. These fundamentals of our foreign policy were agreed upon by President Eisenhower and me before I took my present office. These principles still stand.
After the Dulles statement, Senator McCarthy, refusing comment until he'd had time to study the report carefully, grinned to reporters and said, "Do you think he could have been referring to me?" Mr. Dulles' remarks are interpreted as more than a blast at Senator McCarthy. They are an effort to create a better atmosphere for the Bermuda Conference with our allies. As for a Big Four Foreign Ministers Conference, Mr. Dulles said today that its success will depend on Moscow's willingness to permit any fresh breath of freedom behind the Iron Curtain. At the United Nations, Russia's Andrei Vyshinsky charged that we lied about red atrocities in Korea to cover up American war crimes. Russia, meanwhile, has sent a chilling note to tiny Pakistan asking clarification of reports that Pakistan may permit American air bases on her territory. Just back from Russia, Mrs. Pearl Mester is greeted by her good friend Margaret Truman, and the former Luxembourg minister brought back some very vivid impressions.
I'm delighted to be back in America, naturally, after having been in Europe for nearly 5 years. And it's a great pleasure that I'm looking forward to seeing my dear friends in America. I've been asked so many times about the standard of living in Russia compared with America. Naturally, the standard here is far, far superior to anything in Russia. They have 4 and 5 families living in 2 or 3 rooms, and you know, here in America, how we live.
And now back to Washington, where Defense Secretary Wilson said today that a 10% cut in our military manpower is feasible, but there is no final decision on this matter. Here in New York, plans were announced for the first telephone cable system across the Atlantic. Telephone calls now go by shortwave. Work is to start at once on this project, which will cost $35 million. When it is completed, 3 years from now, transatlantic calls will be carried by submarine cable from Scotland to Newfoundland, a distance of 2,000 miles. Then another 300 miles from Newfoundland to Nova Scotia. Calls will be picked up there by microwave relay and carried into the United States. It will be by far the longest underseas voice cable in the whole world. The longest now runs 110 miles from Key West to Cuba. But no live television from abroad. The engineers say it will take some time to work that out. Most of the big newspapers in this great big city of New York remain shut down by the strike of photo engravers. However, a new arbitration offer will be voted on by the union tomorrow morning. The only sizable paper in print is the Brooklyn Eagle, not a member of the publishers group in New York. Another strike broke out and snowballed on the New York waterfront today. More on that in just a moment after Frank Sims speaks for Anderson.
Friends, when you suffer pain of headache, neuritis, or neuralgia, you need Anderson for incredibly fast, long-lasting relief. In fact, your own physician or dentist has probably suggested Anderson to you. And a glance at your neighborhood pharmacist's record of doctor's prescriptions he fills daily will show you why. Notice they usually contain a combination of carefully selected ingredients designed to do a specific job. And it's the same with Anderson, because Anderson is like a doctor's prescription. That is, Anderson contains not just one, but a combination of medically proved active ingredients in easy-to-take tablet form. And it's this combination of ingredients working together that accounts for the incredibly fast, long-lasting relief Anderson brings you. So, friends, remember, when pain strikes, pain of headache, neuritis, or neuralgia, take Anderson. Anderson comes in handy boxes of 12 and 30 tablets, economical bottles of 50 and 100 tablets. Get Anderson for fast relief.
And today, the states of New York and New Jersey began the gigantic task of cleaning up their crime-ridden waterfront, a task not unlike the classical effort to cleanse the Augean stables. As it was tough for our old friend Ulysses, it will be tough for the new two-state waterfront commission. Already, rebellion and the threat of violence is spreading out over the docks. But if ever a cleanup was necessary, this one certainly is. The New York waterfront, busiest and richest in the land, has spawned every vicious crime from blackmail to murder. This sprawling, roaring area became nothing less than a jungle, inhabited by criminals, shakedown artists, and muscle men. There, the racketeer is king. He's cowed businessmen, he's enslaved longshoremen, he's bought and corrupted public servants. He came to power by murdering or frightening away honest labor union officials and moving in. He holds his power by threat, murder, savage beatings. His reward, $350 million a year. This money comes out of your pocket, no matter where you live in the United States of America. It's added to the cost of all goods that are channeled through New York Harbor. One source of the racketeer's power, the shake-up system, where men line up for work. A pier boss can starve a longshoreman to death by ignoring him. With such control, he can order the longshoreman to strike at will, uses this to terrorize and bilk waterfront industries. But what you see now is New York's last shape-up. For beginning tonight, this is outlawed, and now longshoremen are being licensed and hired in these new employment information centers, operated by the state commissions. Here, longshoremen are assigned to work by licensed hiring agents and then sent directly to their jobs. 25,000 longshoremen have been licensed so far. 250 suspected racketeers have been rejected. And early today, they began to fight back. Despite a government no-strike order, the first picket line sprang up in New York's so-called Pistol Local, controlled by gangster Mickey Bowers. work stopped at Upper Manhattan piers where the luxury liners dock, and caught in the tie-up some of the greatest ships of them all, including, of course, the great liner United States. Slowly the work stoppage spread to Brooklyn, New Jersey, at piers where hiring bosses had been refused their licenses. Now, significantly, the trouble came on piers controlled by the old International Longshoremen's Union, which the American Federation of Labor had expelled because it was crime-ridden. Even some longshoremen licensed to work honored their picket lines. By this evening, almost the entire port of New York and parts of New Jersey were tied up, and police have been alerted for a general strike within hours. Brigadier General George P. Hayes, the New York Waterfront Commissioner, tonight issued this statement.
There have been work stoppages in several areas. The area controlled by Bowers, the area controlled by Acolytus, and the area controlled by Anastasia, and 2 piers in Jersey City. I have been told that these work stoppages have been caused by the men refusing to work because certain hiring agents have not been licensed by the Waterfront Commission. We refuse to license these men because of their bad criminal records. I think these work stoppages will end when the honest longshoremen realize they are being taken advantage of by the racketeers and gangsters that the Waterfront Commission is determined to get rid of.
There is talk tonight that Taft-Hartley may be invoked, that work licenses may be denied those guilty of bringing the stoppages about and taken away from those refusing to work. People, places, and things after a word from the makers of Real Lemon.
Here's a trick that's been done for you. 16 average-sized lemons. Whisk a 16-ounce bottle of Real Lemon. Yes, an ounce of Real Lemon juice contains the juice of an average-sized lemon. Watch it again. 16 average-sized lemons. Whisk a 16-ounce bottle of Real Lemon juice. Get Real Lemon brand lemon juice, real California lemon juice in bottles, reconstituted for uniformity of strength and flavor. Saves time, saves work, saves money. Real Lemon is great for all your kitchen needs, for cooking, baking, salads, seafoods, beverages, desserts, all the many, many daily uses of lemon juice. And so convenient and economical, too. You just pour Real Lemon. Wonderful in many ways, even as an after-shampoo rinse. So make happy magic at your house with a handy bottle of Real Lemon. R-E-A-L-E-M-O-N. Real Lemon brand reconstituted lemon juice. Real lemon juice in bottles.
And people, places, and things, and a word about ourselves. The American Broadcasting Company received the Sylvania Award tonight for our television coverage of the coronation. You'll remember, I hope, that we were on first with coronation film. And the Sylvania Award is accepted by ABC's Alexander Stronach Jr., the vice president in charge of television. On the far right is John Madigan, who set up the microwave relay which enabled us to pick up the coronation film first from Canada. Only 20 shopping days till Christmas, and the Yule season arrived officially at Rockefeller Center here in New York City today, when this very big Christmas tree was trucked into the heart of town. And with some help from heavy machinery, up she goes. It's a big crane pulling her up. It's a 75-foot spruce brought in from New Jersey. Will be decorated with 6,000 shimmering icicles and 6,500 bulbs. And that's our story for tonight. Good night and a good tomorrow.
Anacin for fast relief of pain of headache, neuritis, neuralgia, and Real Lemon reconstituted lemon juice have brought you John Daly and the news. Tune in again tomorrow night at the same time for John Daly and the news.
See Cavalcade of America on ABC television.